I want to align.
What is going on, everybody? Gunnar here, and I am in the middle of the Amazon rainforest. This place is ridiculous. I am hanging out with Nomadic Waters Expeditions. We're on the Uatama River fishing for gigantic peacock bass. This is day 5, so I've had like the week of a lifetime. I got one more day to go, and I just want to run through a really kind of introductory series on predator fly design, so that whether you're chasing saltwater, freshwater, Amazon destination, or Northwood smallmouth, like this is the bare bones basics for fly design, just predator fly design. So I want to go over 3 patterns. Really it's 2 patterns and 2 platforms, which there's one overlap, so we're going to get 3 different flies here, and then we're going to freestyle over that platform. But I want to do a bucktail deceiver, a bulkhead deceiver, a jigging bulkhead, and then we'll freestyle over a hidden bulkhead deceiver with Snow Runner, which has been one of my favorite kind of just simple flies. It's totally simple. Bucktail, Snow Runner, done, right? All these flies, bucktail, flash boot, done. So you're talking about bare minimum materials, absolutely no material cost. You get some bucktail, get some flash boot, and we're gonna get 2 different silhouettes, match 2 forage. Basically, you take all the forages in the world, bait fish styles, and you can combine them, kind of consolidate them into 2 primary silhouettes. It's really that simple. You're going to have high and tight, which is how we're going to do our bucktail deceiver, and then you're going to have tubular round with a bulky head. It's going to be our bulkhead, and that's going to match almost every forage that you're going to find anywhere in the world, and you're going to have the 2 options to imitate that forage, and you're going to have the 2 platforms, weighted and weightless, to imitate that platform. First fly we're going to do, it's a bucktail deceiver. I'm tying on SL 12S's and a 4-aught. They're all going to be on that same hook, except the jig version is actually going to be on a 2-aught bent predator from Arex, and that's going to be the hook that we're going to use. So let's do this. Cool, so this first fly is going to be on a SL 12S 4-aught saltwater hook from Gamakatsu. I really like saltwater hooks. I like the wide gap, the short shank. It's absolutely perfect for building a very simple deceiver platform. They're all going to be on that same hook except the jig fly. I'm going to come in with 140 Veevus power thread, which I find just keeps the bucktail work nice and sparse. It's plenty durable. And when we do the bulkhead, we're actually going to come up with GSP, just so that we have a little bit more pulling power to really compress that and secure that, especially when we get to the head. But when we're talking about bucktails, the easiest way I find to break this up is using 2 different bucktails. Super long, super light fibers, really wispy. This is going to be your tailing material, your mid-body material. It's going to get you all of your length and movement. Then you have shorter, stiffer, curlier fibers. Now you rarely are going to find that on the same bucktail, so use multiple bucktails, right? We're coming in with 2 different bucktails. Short, curly for the head, long, straight, light for the tail and the mid-body. So we're going to come in with our bucktail. Typically your farthest fibers, your longest fibers are going to be right kind of in this middle section. These also aren't going to flare that much. You're going to make a nice long tail. And I'm going to do this really, really sparse. I'm cutting that off the hide. I'm going to take out waste. I got some material waste in here. You don't need this, right? We're going to use just the longest fibers. These are like 5.5-inch fibers, 6-inch fibers. We're getting a 6-inch fly. It's absolutely perfect for down here, perfect for pike and muskie, perfect for smallmouth. Get a little spin in there. My bobbin's a little worn out. Didn't want to spin there. Get some spin in there. That round thread's going to consolidate our pressure. Flat thread, right? Look how much it's really hard to get a lot of pressure. Boom! A round thread is really intense. We get a lot of pressure. Compress that bucktail. Get that in there. Then I'm just going to shove my thumb right on top. So just 2 wraps, fingernail on top. The fingernail's pushing that bucktail around my hook. It went from straight on top to around. It's curling around that hook. Nice even distribution. Give that some pulls. I gotta clean up my tape on my thumb here. I got bass thumb like crazy right now. Get some clean thread wraps on that and just compress. I like to compress my tails a little bit with threads so they're nice and straight back. And then all I'm gonna do is take some Polar Flash. This is like a nice opal color. Polar Flash is just one of my favorites. Really scaly texture to it. It's also really durable because it's woven. I'm just going to drape that 50-50. So I just wrapped it around my bobbin, pin it right to the top, kind of jackknife half the fibers one side, jack them the other, and that's going to veil the whole back of your fly absolutely perfectly. Now you have flash throughout that whole tail. Cover this with some safe thread here. And we're going to try to do this in 4 stacks. It should be that simple. We're going to do 2 long stacks and then 2 short stacks. That way we get a nice, really nice teardrop silhouette. And as I move forward, we're going to start building this fly high and tight, right? We're going to try to create very intentionally that high and tight bait fish silhouette. So I'm going to come in, I took out a lot of my short fibers. I'm actually going to take out a handful of my longest fibers. Start building the silhouette early on. Going to cut that maybe a 1/2 inch short of what I cut the other one. Come up, spin my thread. Now when I drape this, just 2 turns. What's up, Matthew? Push that around the hook. You're going to pinch this super hard. You're pinching it, it's going to force the fibers top and bottom. Compress that down. And that's getting it perfectly high and tight. I'm going to come in just a few strands of flash glue here. So right, that was super simple. You put your thread on top of that sucker, push your thumb down so that it's evenly distributed, and then you pinch the sides right when you go to add your pressure. And that side pinch, right, you put the bucktail on top, you get it perfectly distributed, and then you pinch it. It's really hard to do with my fingers, but you get high and tight, right? You naturally get that nice high and tight bait fish simply by pinching your fibers and then tying down over top of them. Really easy way to do it. You can see we have long fibers, a little shorter, we're going to go a little shorter, we're going to go a little shorter. We're trying to get that widest part of the fly really at that 3rd mark, create that perfectly high and tight teardrop silhouette, all out of bucktail and flash glue. So we're going to come in now with our 2nd bucktail. Shorter fibers, wavier fibers. That wave is really going to help fill in this head. And what's going to be nice about it is you're not really going to have to use more fibers because the wave is kind of filling in that dead space for your head. Take out our butts again. Want this first one almost landing halfway down the fly, halfway down that previous wing. Give that a nice clean cut. Spin this up. Two turns, shove your thumb on top. It's 360 degrees right now, evenly distributed. Pinch that nice and hard, pull straight down. Really flare that bucktail top and bottom. Wrap those butts back super, super clean. Now I'm actually going to stop with my flash here just to save some time. And obviously the head of this fly is going to be a little tight because you got to keep your thread under control this whole time. And what we're going to do at the end of this, because I know this looks a little wanky, you just got to trust the system. The bucktail tends to over-flare, tends to kind of fight itself. It has a little bit of static to it, which doesn't like that. All you're going to do at the end of this, we're going to get this wet and let it hang dry. It's going to be absolutely perfect by the time we're done with it. So I'm taking my short fibers again out of my short bucktail. I'm going to take the long ones out. You don't need the long ones, right? You want this last collar, the shortest collar, to really be pretty short. Like it should land right at that 3rd mark is all we're looking for. That's going to give you the most accurate silhouette to a true bait fish. Trim those butts really clean. Make this, spin that up. We're right at the head of this hook. Back up just one. Pull that down, pull that down. I'm gonna give 3 right on top. Make sure that's flared evenly all the way around. Pinch those sides. Oh man. Always have a second bobbin ready and spooled up. So I got my second thread started there. I'm gonna take this with my finger. Oh man, this is how you save a fly right here. Bring that up to my eye. Catch that with my other thread. Drape that backwards. I got bucktail in my mouth. But that is how you save a fly right there. That worked out pretty well actually. We're just gonna have this short little thread head. Build it up, build it up, build it up. Then I'm gonna whip finish right here at the eye. And that is your high and tight Bucktail Deceiver with flash coming out the tail. So it's basically just a flash tail Bucktail Deceiver. Super simple, you guys, super simple. I'm filming, I'm explaining stuff, I'm trying to walk you through it deliberately, slowly. Took 8 minutes, all right? Like you're literally talking about making 6, 7 of these in an hour, maybe even 8. You get all your materials prepped. I mean, you should be able to blow through these and you have an absolutely perfect fly for almost any predator anywhere with that nice high and tight. Look how high and tight that is. Do you see how wide that silhouette is? This is like 3 inches tall. Boom. What is that? It's not, it's like a finger wide. It's like 2 fingers wide. That's absolutely nothing versus how tall that is. So that's your high and tight baitfish silhouette, Bucktail Deceiver, 2 materials and a hook. So that is the most simple fly I can think of, just a high and tight Bucktail Deceiver with a little bit of flash coming out the tail. Took no time to tie whatsoever, extremely durable, perfect silhouette, high and tight. I'm going to show you guys how to do the bulkhead, which is going to be your tubular round bulky head. You know, obviously sucker silhouette, mullet silhouette, sculpin silhouette, all of those classic species of forage silhouette. And it's super important that you have both whenever you're in any fishery whatsoever. Both silhouettes are absolutely critical because honestly, I just believe silhouette's the most important part of a fly. Silhouette is how you identify something. Have you ever seen, like, you know, the wristbands that have a redfish on them, or a tarpon, or a snook, or a largemouth bass, or a crappie? You know what species it is by the silhouette. Those wristbands don't have any color. They don't have anything. It's just the silhouette of the fish with the different fins. You're like, I know what that is, right? Silhouette's everything. And we're bringing it down to a very simple level, high and tight, tubular with a bulky head. It's really that simple. But that forage ID is critical because just like a fish might be selective on a mayfly or a stonefly, more so like a size 12 yellow Sally stonefly, right? It gets very specific, but that silhouette, all stoneflies have the same silhouette and all mayflies have the same silhouette. Baitfish have the same silhouette. Super important that you have both in your fishery and you fish them both, because fish will key in on those silhouettes at different times of day, different times of year, whatever you're doing, and you need to be able to present both and find which one the fish are after. So that's your Bucktail Deceiver. Follow the link and let's tie bulkhead.